Welcome back to JNS Daily Drives, everyone. My name is Jacob, and today we're going to be taking a look at this 2012 Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG. In today's video, we're going to go over the exterior as well as the interior, talk a little bit about what's powering this beast, and see what it's like to drive. Let's get started. I'd like to start this video with the front end of the C63. The C63 has always had a very aggressive stance, all the way stemming from the 2008 model. It got refreshed in 2012 and looks even meaner, keeping with those sharp edges that were the thing with Mercedes back in that time. We have some very aggressive lines on the hood here, more aggressive lines down below, painted black grille and lower splitter there. Looks very mean. I think it looks absolutely awesome. The headlights also look really good when illuminated. It's really bright out, so you won't be able to see them. We have more vents down below here to help with cooling and help with aerodynamics of the car. You can kind of get a sense of the wheel arches on this car just from the angle that you're at right now. We'll take a better look at the side in just a second, but overall I think the front end looks really mean. I've always loved the C63's front end. It's just so aggressive. Now we move to the side of the Mercedes-Benz C63 and we can begin to talk a little bit more about the design. So as you can see, this car is a lot more aggressive than a standard C-Class from this era. We have absolutely gigantic wheel arches in the front and in the rear. It's absolutely ridiculous. We have the 6.3 badging there, and I'll tell you in a second why this actually doesn't have a 6.3 liter V8. But moving on, we have a nice low side skirt down there and some beautiful body lines that add to the overall aggressive nature of this car. We have these 19-inch wheels. The standards are 18s, but this has 19-inch black wheels, which I think make it look absolutely beautiful. 225 width in the front and 255 width in the rear. And as you know, C63s are known to get out quite a lot, especially with 255s in the rear. Also, to help stopping this car, we have absolutely gigantic brakes. Huge ventilated discs in the front and in the rear, which help with stopping immensely. This car stops on a freaking dime. You couldn't stop it any faster if you crashed it into a tree. I'd like to talk a little bit about the rear seat space. If I have somebody who's around 5'10" sitting in front of me, I have plenty of legroom. But as soon as somebody who's about 6 feet tall comes in here, it's a little bit tight. I'm 6'2". My headroom's actually not bad. It is a little bit tight and I almost hit my head, but it's good enough that I can fit in here. Any taller, I think it might be a little bit too tight. We have climate control back here as well. Overall, it feels pretty snug back here. I kind of like it. Now we move to the rear of the C63, where we can begin to talk a little bit about the diffuser, the exhaust, and the trunk space. So on this model year of C63, we got this beautiful carbon fiber spoiler. It fits in really well, gives it a more aggressive look, and overall adds to, what's relatively an understated car if it's not driving and you hear it, a little bit more flashy. And I like that. I think it looks really good. It fits in well with the tinted windows, the black wheels, and the diffuser. Now the diffuser is extremely aggressive. 3-bladed diffuser that goes all the way down and then circles around those 4 exhaust tips. This has one of the best sounding exhausts I've ever heard. Now AMG is known for their exhaust, and we'll get to that in just a second. But I'd like to take a look at the trunk space to see what it's like back there. Simply to open it up like so. The trunk space is actually pretty good. If I go ahead and push my drone case all the way back, it fits pretty well. I could probably fit 3, maybe 4. 4 might be pushing it a little bit. But one of the interesting features about the trunk in the C63 is that it actually goes up on an incline once you get further back. These seats do fold down, giving you extra cargo space. So located right here is the cargo space with the seats folded up for 5 passengers, and then right here is with the seats folded down. Now that we've gone over the exterior of this C63, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about that engine. Now that's a 6.2 liter V8 producing 451 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque. Now I know the designation is 63. It says 6.3 on the sides there. It says 6.3 in the instrument cluster. But what does 6.3 have anything to do with the 6.2? Back in the day, Mercedes had a race car that had a 6.3 liter, and that's what this car is harping back to. The 6.3 is harping back to that race car. This car actually has a 6.2 liter or a 6,209 cc engine. And trust me, it sounds pretty freaking good. So here it is, the 6.2 liter V8 making a whole bunch of horsepower and a whole bunch of torque. This AMG engine was actually hand built by a man named Sascha Buking. All AMG engines are hand built, and this is absolutely no exception. I think we should hear how it sounds. Now that we've heard how the engine sounds, let's go to the back and get one of the meanest exhaust clips I've ever heard. Now that we've heard how the engine sounds, gotten that exhaust clip, and overall gone over the exterior of the C63, there's nothing left to do but go for a drive. Before we go on with the rest of this review, I have to say a massive thank you to Norm and the rest of the guys over at International Motorcars for providing me with this C63 for the day. If you haven't seen any of my videos recently, they've been providing a lot of cars for us. So special shout out to them, linked in the description below, as well as right here is their website, along with the link to this exact car, which is for sale right now. Make sure you go check them out. So now that I'm inside and I'm driving the Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG from 2012, we can begin to talk a little bit more about that engine and the transmission that it's mated to. So like I said, it's a 6.2, not a 6.3, V8 naturally aspirated, producing 450 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque. And that's all mated to a 7-speed AMG Speed Shift MCT. And the transmissions are pretty quick. When you're in Sport Plus, they're very crisp. When you're in manual, they're also very crisp. Downshifts are a little bit lackluster. They're not quite as quick as I would have hoped when you're in manual mode. But that's just a small little thing, because if I go over into manual mode, third gear, this car is so much fun. There's very few cars out there that put a smile on my face quite like this one does. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. The power, third gear, let's go down to second, 50 kilometers an hour. Oh my God, this thing is absolutely insane. Whew. The sounds that it makes, the speed that it gives, the throttle response is so quick. That's the marquee of an AMG car. It just keeps going, keeps hitting you like that. It's like getting punched in the face. It's absolutely insane. Say your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend wants to drive it and they don't really like cars. They don't know how to drive performance cars. They can keep it in comfort mode, and because it's an automatic, it's super easy to drive. There's nothing difficult about it. It's like every other car. It's not until you turn everything up to 11 in manual or Sport Plus mode that you really start to feel what this car can do. In terms of the way that it feels though, and the comfort inside, in comfort mode, it's pretty good. You go over bumps, you feel them, but it's not too bad. These seats, I'll get to the seats in just a second. The seats are amazing. But in comfort mode, everything is pretty soft. It's like every other car. Go into Sport, everything's a little bit stiffer. Sport Plus, that's where things get pretty stiff, and then you start to hear the engine a little bit more. Now the seats, The seats are very, very, very comfortable. The bolstering on these seats are better than any bolsters I've felt on any other seat. They're also very comfortable too. They're firm, but they're not too firm. Too firm, it's hard to drive, but in this car, it's pretty easy because we've got that nice suspension and we also have the nice seats. And I just can't believe how well these seats hold you in. Let's talk about cornering for a second. So the C63 is known for getting its tail out a little bit. I say a little bit, I mean a lot. I'm not going to turn off traction control, but I am going to hit the traction control button once to put it into sport handling mode. Click OK. Let's go into manual mode. Click it downshift into third. Oh, handles so well, tight as a drum. Absolutely no body roll. And as long as you keep it not going crazy until you get out of the corner, you won't die. And that's the most important part about this car, is making sure that you're safe. So now I want to talk a little bit about the features, the overall design, and the feel of the interior. The quality of the materials in here are bar none. The seats, the leather, everything feels absolutely fantastic. The steering wheel, one of the best steering wheels I've ever felt. It just feels perfect in your hands. Perfect 9 and 3 position, and then 10 and 2 has a nice part as well. Flat topped as well as flat bottomed, and a very unique design to the steering wheel itself. I think it looks awesome. It feels great in your hand. Couldn't ask for more from a steering wheel, really. The pops that this thing makes are insane. If I go ahead and open the sunroof, hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad. I'll slow down just a little bit. If I it just pops on command. And then when you want it to, what a car. What a car. Let's go ahead, we'll throw it back into comfort mode so we can talk a little bit more about the safety features in this car. So for an AMG car, for a car that has 450 horsepower and wants to kill you half the time, it actually has a surprisingly good amount of safety tech. We have blind spot monitors there, we have forward collision warning, as well as lane keep assist. This is all found in the drive assist page on the central screen here. Attention assist, blind spot assist, lane keep assist, they help immensely when you're just in regular traffic because you don't know what everybody else is going to do. Not everywhere is just wide open road where you can floor the car. So having these safety features is absolutely awesome. In terms of space in the C63, I'm pretty good. I have lots of headroom because of the sunroof. I can lower my seat a little bit more. I have some awesome bolstering, which helps me hold in tight. Hip room is good because I can release the bolstering in case you have wider hips. Shoulder room is also great. I'm not really cramped at all in here. Like I said, the rear space is a little tight, but it's not too bad. Same goes for the rest of the cabin. It's just very well spacious in here. Now I want to talk a little bit about fuel economy on the C63, which is a really funny thing to talk about in this car. So I've been averaging around 22 liters per 100 kilometer, which is terrible. That is horrendous fuel economy, but you don't expect this car to have great fuel economy because it has a 6.2 liter V8. You just don't expect things like that from this car. And sure, you'd be sacrificing it with this car instead of getting maybe a C350, but can a C350 freaking rocket you like crazy? No, it can't. This might be the most fun car that I've actually ever driven, and I've driven a lot of cars, and this one very well might be the most fun of all of them. I mean, what more can you ask for? What? I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on this 2012 Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG as much as I did. This thing is an absolute blast to drive. One of the best cars for under $40,000. Honestly, in my opinion, this could be the greatest car for under 40 grand. Make sure to smash that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well.